Hey guys, Bipolar Barbie here, and I am having a rather terrible week at the moment. And I wanted to talk about something because it's so funny. As someone in my mastermind group or my support group, coaching program, whatever it is that you want to call it, by the way, you should totally sign up for it. Bipolar Barbie Australia I burped, at gmail.com. That's where you can find out, or just email me and I'll find you more information. A bit flat at the moment. Wanted to explain why. I was explaining to one of my clients about alcohol and the effect it has on your medication. Something my doctors communicated to me quite a few years ago. Drinking alcohol actually depletes the level of medication in your system. So here I am wondering why I feel like so shit this week, why I just feel flat, depressed, just like emotional and shitty. And yeah, I went drinking on the weekend, which is something I don't do very often. That's like the second time I've drank this year. And I'm like feeling the effects of it. Like I'm not hungover. It was like 5 days ago. But it is very clear that my levels of serotonin have just completely dropped. And that's where I'm at. It's terrible. I feel like absolute shit. And I would not recommend drinking. I think it's something that people need to understand. A lot of people tell me that their medication isn't working, yet they smoke cigarettes, they drink alcohol, or smoke weed. It's like they're not going to work if you do those things. Oh, I'm so tired. So just don't do it. I mean, in my experience, it's a true fact, and it is. It's a scientific proven fact. It takes a while for your medication levels to increase. You know, they always say it takes like 6 to 8 weeks to fully kick in for those levels to build up in your system. But every time you drink, you are restarting that process. You are beginning from the beginning. And if you're drinking on a regular basis, it's like you're going to be constantly in a state where they're not working. So I thought this would be a longer video, but really it's just a like 1 point rant. Don't drink. Like how often do you drink? How often are you completely negating the effects of your like your medication? I mean things like Seroquel or antidepressants or mood stabilizers, whatever it is that you are on. No. So it's not just the fact that alcohol is a depressant, because like that's a thing. It like will make you depressed anyway, drinking it. You know, other than using it as a coping mechanism whilst you're inebriated, you might experience some effects on it, but afterwards you are definitely going to get a hangover, just the same way I get like a weed hangover. Anything that I put into my body that changes that chemical composition. I feel really terrible, and I have a headache coming on, and it's not good, and this like hairband is totally just crushing my skull right now. So yes, alcohol is not something that you want to be consuming on a regular basis. And to be honest, it's not that hard to just not drink alcohol. Like, why do you need it? People are like, oh, I need it to go to social situations. Well, just don't go to social situations. Or like, should you really be hanging around people who need to be drinking all the time? No. Like, if you need to be drunk to hang out with certain people, then you just shouldn't have them in your life. I've learned these lessons the very hard way. Massaging acupressure points on my head to get rid of my headache. That's just really not helping me right now. But it's just been fucking with everything since I had this like drink, you know? I wasn't even really that hungover on the next day because I only had like 5 cocktails, so it wasn't even like that much alcohol. It's just these like follow-on effects from it. So I do not recommend doing it. Learn from my mistakes. Don't drink alcohol. It's terrible. It will deplete your levels of medication. So every single time, remember that. Every single time you have a couple of beers, you are just completely getting rid of those levels of medication in your body. And you will be putting yourself through the mind and body fuck of not only experiencing those medication withdrawals, but also having to build up the levels again in your system. So just keep that in mind, guys. Much love.